let's smoke up a ribeye roast out on the Weber kettle and enjoy an amazing cut of beef. Yeah, ribeye roast around this time of year, pretty traditional for a lot of people. You can hear this called standing rib roast, ribeye roast, prime rib. You will hear arguments about the variations on which one is which, but they're all basically the same. We're calling it a ribeye roast today. Now, first thing I want to do is get our seasoning ready, and what we're going to use is my Smoky sweet rub. So we're going to mix up a batch of that. We're not going to use the whole thing on this roast, but I like to have extra. So we're starting with a cup of kosher salt, half a cup of a coarsely ground black pepper, half a cup of turbinado sugar. Turbinado sugar is very granular like this. It's less processed than regular white table sugar and larger grains. A quarter cup of granulated garlic and a quarter cup of smoked paprika. Get my lid on here, and I'm just going to shake. Make sure that lid is on really good. All right, let's get our ribeye roast out here. So here I have a USDA Choice 7.5 pound 3-bone ribeye roast. If you flip it over, you'll see there are 3 bones here. Many times that's how you order it. If you go to the butcher and you say, I want a 3-bone, 4-bone, 5-bone, it's roughly 2 to 2.5 pounds per bone. I'm not going to do any trimming. I want this fat here. We're going to go ahead and get it seasoned up. I've got some of my rub in a little dish here. I prefer to do this just with handfuls rather than a shaker. Start on our bone side, give it a little bit there. Don't forget your sides. All right, this is going to go in the refrigerator overnight, uncovered, just like this. I'm going to be dry brining it, and it will be ready tomorrow when we head out to the kettle. All right, our ribeye roast has been soaking in the seasoning overnight in that smoky sweet rub. The kettle is up to temp. My target today is 250 degrees. Now I'm using the Mallory Firewall and the Mallory Cast Iron Grate. People always ask, well, where do you get those? Link is always in the video description. So let's go ahead and get our roast on. We're gonna put the bone side, or the thinner side, towards the heat. To get my temp probe in here, I'm just going to measure where the dead center is, and that's where I want the probe to touch the outer side. So the internal temp I'm going for today is 125 degrees. At about 90 degrees, we're going to put some melted butter on. Get some red oak on here for some smoke. All right, let's get our lid on, get smoking. We'll come back when we hit about that 90 degrees and get the butter on. See you back here in a little bit. All right, we've been going about 1 hour and 20 minutes. Internal temperature is 65 degrees. I just want to take a look at it, see how we're doing. And I don't know if I mentioned, I have a foil pan under the roast, and I added water to that foil pan so we have some moisture in there on this cold day. It's kind of chilly, but let's take a look and see how we're doing. Oh, that's gorgeous. Let's add another piece of red oak here. So let's get our lid back on. Let it keep going until we get to that 90-ish degrees when we're going to add some butter. And what I like to do is add a favorite rub to the melted butter, maybe like a teaspoon or so. You could use the same rub that you use to put on the ribeye roast or something else that you like. But we got to get to that 90-ish internal, so let's get the lid back on. See you back here in a little bit? All right, we have just reached 90 degrees internal. Let's go ahead and get our melted butter on here. And I think I said it's a stick of unsalted butter with about a teaspoon of the rub seasoning that I put in there. Now, many people like to actually sear this first directly over the coals, or do a reverse sear where you'll get it to this point, then sear it and let it finish. I actually prefer just to do completely indirect and do a butter baste. Nothing wrong with the other methods. I've done those, but I just kind of like this one. All right, we're going to get the lid on. We're going to let this keep going, and we're going to pull it at 125. All right, we have just hit 125 internal. Let's take a look at our ribeye roast so we can get it off of here. That is looking really good. Now this is going to go inside on a tray, and I'm going to loosely tent it with foil for about 25-ish minutes, maybe 20, maybe 30. Then we will cut into it. Well, here is our ribeye roast after resting for about 25-30 minutes. The smell on this is amazing. Now, cooking it to 125 is that sort of rare-ish end of things. If you like it more medium rare, I would take it higher to 130, 135. Yeah, if you want to cook it beyond that, that's up to you, but I think this sort of roast really, for me, is on that rare end. I love it. So let's go ahead and cut in. Let's see if I can... There's a bone, there's a bone. Let's see if I can get right between the bones here, all the way. I could cut it off the bones first, but I'm just gonna leave it there for now. Oh, that's what I wanted. Look at that. Now in video, it doesn't always show up well, but this is a nice pink center. Obviously out at the edges, you're gonna be more cooked. Heat's gotta go from the outside to the end, but let's get a piece of this and have a taste. I'm going to cut like right here. Love that little bit of the crusty fat on the outside. Cheers. The juiciness, the flavor on this, really nice smoke flavor from that red oak. Oh man. A roast like this is a treat. They're not inexpensive. And that's why I really like to take the time to get it to this sort of doneness with the method I use. You can definitely use other methods, but I really like to try and nail that temperature right in the center so you get that rarish center and you move out to more of a medium rare. Just amazing. Often when I do videos like this, I get people saying, that's just blood coming out of there. You didn't cook it enough. There's no blood left in meat like this. That's myoglobin. It's a protein that comes out of there mixed with water. Creates a nice juicelange on the board, and it makes everything delicious.